If you could give your child something they deserved, something they had genuinely earned, but getting it meant taking it from someone else's child, would you do it? Because I did. And I have spent every day since asking myself whether I'm a good mother or just a mother. Her name is Maya. She's 9. She's been 9 for 3 months now, and she still corrects strangers when they guess she's 7, because she's small for her age and she knows it bothers her more than it should, and I love that about her. I love that she notices things. She notices everything, actually. That's the whole point. Maya has been in the general education classroom since kindergarten. She's been assessed twice, flagged once, and overlooked completely by a system that only moves fast when a child is falling behind. Maya isn't falling behind. Maya is so far ahead that she sits through lessons she learned 18 months ago, and she does it quietly, because she's also the kind of kid who doesn't want to make her teacher feel bad. I watched her do it. I sat in on a Tuesday afternoon observation last spring. They called it a parent visit day, and I watched my daughter pretend to follow along with a multiplication unit she had mastered in 2nd grade. She had this look on her face. Not bored exactly, more like patient. The way you look when you're waiting for something and you've learned that rushing it won't help. I cried in the parking lot afterward, not because she was suffering, because she had already learned to make herself smaller so the room could work. The district has one dedicated advanced learning cohort at the elementary level. 12 seats. Every spring, families submit applications with teacher evaluations, assessment scores, and a portfolio of work samples. The review panel, 3 people I have never met, decides who gets in. We applied. Maya's scores were in the 94th percentile. Her teacher wrote her a glowing evaluation. I stayed up 2 nights getting her portfolio right, and we waited. What came back was a waitlist letter, number 4. Behind 3 other children whose scores I would never see, whose portfolios I would never read, whose parents I didn't know. I told myself it was fine. I told Maya it was fine. She said okay and went back to her book, and I stood in the hallway outside her room, and I felt something shift in me. Something I didn't recognize right away. I know what it was now. It was the moment I started thinking about what I could control. The coordinator for the advanced learning program, a woman named Diane, runs the application process out of the district's central office. I had emailed her 4 times over the winter. She was always pleasant. We weren't friends, but we had a rapport. And in March, when I volunteered to help with the community file drop, families submitting physical copies of application materials, Diane said yes without hesitating. I wore my good coat. I brought coffee for the office. I smiled the way you smile when you need someone to feel comfortable around you. The folders were organized by last name in a wire rack on the corner table. My job was to match incoming drop-offs to their corresponding folder and confirm receipt. Simple, clerical, completely unsupervised for the 40 minutes that Diane stepped out to handle something down the hall. I want to tell you I didn't plan it, and I think that's even true. I don't think I walked in that morning knowing what I was going to do, but I also think that somewhere underneath everything, I had already made the decision. I just needed the room to be empty. The child at the top of the wait list, number 1, ahead of Maya, his last name started with B. His folder was near the front. I could see from the tab that his portfolio was thick. His parents had done everything right. I stood there for a long time, maybe 2 minutes, maybe less. Time does something strange when you're deciding whether to become the kind of person you always assumed you weren't. I took 2 pages from the evaluation section of his folder, his teacher's written assessment. I didn't destroy them. I want to be clear about that, as if it matters, as if the distinction is the thing that makes me something other than what I did. I slid them into my bag, and then I refiled his folder, and I finished my shift, and I thanked Diane, and I drove home. Without the teacher evaluation, His application would have been flagged as incomplete. The panel doesn't review incomplete files. They defer them. A deferred application doesn't block the list. It just removes the applicant from that cycle's consideration. He would be eligible again the following year. Maya got a call 4 days later. A seat had opened. Would she like to accept? I said yes, before the woman on the phone finished her sentence. And here's the part I keep returning to, the part I can't organize into something that makes sense. Maya is thriving. I mean genuinely thriving. She came home on her 3rd day and told me she finally felt like the lessons were moving at the right speed. She used those words. The right speed. She's made 2 friends. Her teacher says she's a natural leader. Everything I wanted for her is happening. And I have no idea what happened to the boy whose folder I touched. I don't know his first name. I don't know if his family reapplied. I don't know if he's sitting in a classroom right now doing what Maya used to do, waiting, patiently, for something that should have come faster. I think about his mother sometimes. I think about whether she cried in a parking lot too. Whether she told her son it was fine and then stood in a hallway feeling the floor shift under her. I think about what I would say to her if she ever found out. I've practiced the words. They always fall apart before I finish them. There's a specific smell I remember from that office. Coffee and old paper and something industrial, like the carpet cleaner they use in places that have a lot of foot traffic. I smell something like it sometimes, in schools, in waiting rooms, and my whole body remembers where I was standing and what I was doing. Maya asked me once, a few weeks after she started, if I thought the other kids in her class had worked as hard to get in as she had. She wasn't bragging. She was genuinely curious. She wanted to know if the effort was shared, if the space was earned equally among all of them. I told her I was sure they all had. She nodded and went back to her homework, satisfied, trusting me completely. That was the worst moment. Not the office, not the 2 pages in my bag. That was the moment that sits at the bottom of everything, my daughter, trusting me, asking a question I answered with a lie she'll never know was a lie. I don't know what kind of mother that makes me. I know what kind of mother I told myself I was doing it for. I'm just not sure those are the same person anymore. I've never told anyone this. Not my husband, not my sister, not a single person who knows Maya's face or my name. You're the first. And I don't know if telling you changes anything. I don't know if it was supposed to, but it's yours now too, just a little. That's how confession works, I think. You hand someone a piece of the weight and you see if they flinch. What would you have done?